Hello, welcome back to Roast the Week. Happy Easter, everyone. I wanted to make this week's show an Easter special because I think it's important we all take a moment to remember what Easter is truly about. Chocolate, eggs, bunnies, hot crust buns as well. But to some people, it's also about the late, great Jesus Christ. What a bloke. Water into wine? Yes, please. So today I'm going to run you through the original story of Easter with all the facts, some of which may have been left out of the original story, but it's sort of like the behind the scenes / outtakes of the Easter story. So I hope you enjoy, because after all, that's what Jesus would want. So let's get straight into it. This is the night before the big day. Jesus' crucifixion, that is. He wasn't getting married. Anyway, this is the Last Supper. Didn't really end up being his last, but I won't spoil it. Jesus sat down at the table with his followers. Hang on, how big's the table? He can't have had that many followers back then. Bet Jesus couldn't hit 25,000 subs, could he? Neither can I by the looks of it. In many ways, Jesus was the original influencer, the J Station of his time, if you like. Except Jesus would never tell his following fictitious stories. Oh, wait. It's just a joke. I can make jokes, alright? It's called Roast the Week for a reason, okay? Chill out. I'll tell you what, Jesus could fake a death though. Brilliant at that. Anyway, let's continue. Jesus said to his followers, "I've been very eager to eat this Passover meal with you before my suffering begins." Alright, don't ruin the vibe of the night. This is supposed to be a big send-off. Don't remind us that you're about to be strapped to a giant cross and killed. It's putting me off my meatballs, to be honest with you, Jesus. I imagine this is a little bit like a mukbang with his disciples. They're all just hanging out, just chilling, just trying to take his mind off things. It's what mates do. He then took a cup of wine and said, "Take this and share it among yourselves, for I will not drink wine again until the kingdom of God has come." This has turned into some sort of weird crucifixion pre-drinks game. What is going on? The big lad wants to get absolutely hammered by the sounds of it, and who can blame him? He's got the crucifixion stuff nagging at him in the background. So, he's trying to take his mind off it with a little bit of wine. Fair enough. After supper, he took another cup of wine. Jesus Christ, pace yourself a bit, mate. If you're going to carry on like this, you'll be thrown up in the stables in a minute. Then the story just sort of jumps forward to the day of his execution. No mention of what else happened that night, so who knows what they got up to. Probably can't remember. But, it sounds a little bit like some sort of hangover film at the moment. Surprised Jesus didn't wake up with a face tattoo. What happened in Bethlehem stays in Bethlehem. Probably wasn't in Bethlehem, was it? Where are we now? Jerusalem? Anyway, let's continue. On Good Friday, Jesus was executed by crucifixion. Bit harsh is that, what happened to a second chance? Let's at least give him a chance to see if he reoffends first before you start crucifying people willy-nilly. And why are they going to all this effort of making a massive cross to stick him on? It's a lot of faffing about, is that? Surely there's more efficient ways of killing somebody. Isn't it easier to, push them off a cliff or something? Do you know what I mean? Come think. Why are we wasting wood? Also, I'm not really sure why they called it Good Friday. If I got crucified on a cross, I won't be saying, "Oh, this has been a good Friday, hasn't it, lads?" No. Well, to be honest, I won't be saying anything at all because I'd be dead. But my point is, I'd be thinking this has been a terrible Friday. The worst of all the Fridays of anything. Unless they meant it sarcastically, like, "Oh, I'll tell you what, this has been a good Friday, hasn't it, lads?" Maybe that was it. But I'm not going to question it because we get a day off, so who cares? His body was taken off the cross and buried in a grave. The tomb was guarded and an enormous stone was put over the entrance so that no one could steal the body. Spoiler alert, it's about to kick off. Get ready for this. On the following Sunday, some women visited the grave. Probably fangirls, just paying their respects. They found the stone had been moved and that the tomb was empty. Nightmare. We've all been there when something goes missing. Never the body of Jesus Christ, though. So imagine the panic. Imagine the headlines. Mayhem in Bethlehem. Bet the press crucified him, poor bloke. Jesus himself was seen that day and for days afterwards by many people. You see, this is where I'm a bit sceptical, okay? And obviously, the rising from the dead bit as well. Did people really see him knocking about in sandals? Or have they got his lookalike mixed up or something? Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of other explanations I gravitate towards before I think, "Oh, he's been brought back to life." Has he? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong on this. Who knows? His followers realised that God had raised Jesus from the dead. Hang on a second. His followers decided themselves that this was God's doing. So am I expected to take their word for it from 2,000 years ago and commit my life to that belief system? That's a big ask, is that? You know, what if they were just seeing things? But if Jesus' resurrection from the dead is true, then he's a bloody good magician, if nothing else. You know, he can walk on water, he can survive death, he can turn water into wine. He's a genius. So that is the story of Easter. I've shortened it a little bit, but you get the gist. But Jesus' resurrection isn't the only recovery we've been celebrating this week. Boris Johnson seems to be slowly getting better, having been taken to hospital and put into intensive care. Now, I'm not a massive Boris fan myself, but we need leaders all around the world to be fit and healthy right now so that they can make all the important decisions. Like Donald Trump, for example, who this week signed an order to mine the moon. Could we not maybe just push it back a couple of months, Donald? You know, do we really need to mine the moon immediately? It's just, you know, we've got stuff kicking off down here to deal with first. The order stated that Americans should have the right to engage in commercial exploration, recovery and use of resources in outer space. Okay, but can we at least talk about it first? No, let's divvy it up between nations, please. I mean, I regret not buying a place up there before this all started kicking off, to be honest. You know, a little sort of 1 metre by 1 metre square on the moon. You may as well, you know, what is there to lose? Aside from a few £100, but I'll have a holiday home up there, and you lot will be down here fighting over toilet roll. Trump also held another press conference this week related to the virus and was asked about how he'll make the decision on when to end lockdown. Play the clip.
What metrics you will use to make that decision?
The metrics right here. That's my metrics.
I mean, this might be the most David Brent thing I've ever seen. It's all up there, isn't it? Well, no, it's not all up there, though, is it, Donald? Most of it is. But it's a reenactment of that very scene. Why can't he just talk about stats and graphs, you know, instead of relying on his brain? It's not very reassuring, is it? You'll find more intelligent life on the moon. Speaking of a lack of intelligence, last week Jack Grealish got into trouble for crashing his car, but he wasn't the only footballer having a bang during lockdown. This week, Cal Walker invited a sex worker to his place. How appropriate. Glad to hear the millionaires are taking lockdown seriously. On that same subject, we should also mention that Jose Mourinho trained Ndombele in a park in London this week, and people are saying, oh, you know, he shouldn't be out there training, it's not essential. Have you seen him play? Jesus Christ, they bought him for £65 million. At the moment, he's worth less than a Freddo. Which, to be fair, nowadays does cost a few quid, but still. Now, obviously not advocating the breaking of government rules, I'm very much against that. Something I'm also completely against is pedos. And on a completely unrelated topic, Prince Andrew was pictured on Instagram giving cupcakes to a local hospice. Good on him to do some charity work, you know. Jimmy Savile did a lot for charity as well. Always helps a guilty conscience. On the theme of royals, this week we had a Queen's speech. It was a 5-minute pre-recorded speech, really, so it sort of means less. But she was wearing a lovely green dress, you know, looked great. But a classic mistake. I mean, the internet did what the internet does best and changed what she was wearing. Here are some of the best ones. Never knew she was an Iron Maiden fan. The Queen as a Star Trek character. Never thought you'd see that, did you? The Queen wearing Queen. I mean, some of these are just so ridiculous, aren't they? But brilliant. And so I thought I'd do a couple of my own. Nice of her to show her son some support. Oh. Not sure I'd do the same. Oh, there I am. Oh, my face on her top. Could probably sell a few of those, actually. I think they'd sell. How much would you pay for it? 15 quid? 20 quid? 30? Also this week, Joe Biden gets the Democratic Party vote. Seems like being a massive creep is the new normal in American politics. Have people not seen the videos of him being inappropriate around kids and whispering into their ears? I mean, what a weirdo. Prince Andrew's fuming. He's had to hide his predatory side for years. Whereas Big Joe Biden's running for office. Prince Andrew's running up for tips. How have you managed it, Joe? How have you gone this long and not been found out? And finally, James Charles got cancelled again this week for his bloody nose makeup picture that he posted on Twitter. This caused a ridiculous debate as to, you know, whether he was trying to turn violence into a makeup look. I've never heard so much nonsense in my life. Actually, that's a lie. That Prince Andrew interview was terrible. But to suggest that's what James Charles was doing is ridiculous. He was taking part in a mugshot trend that's been going around on TikTok. It's just a stupid TikTok trend. Most TikTok trends are stupid. Be annoyed at the stupid trends that stupid people are coming up with. And that James Charles, like millions of other people, just seem to go along with. But he's not trying to turn violence into a makeup look. Yes, it's weird. I wouldn't do it either. But don't try and look for something where there's nothing, okay? It's just another stupid trend. It's ridiculous like all the other trends out there. And on that note, that's everything for this week. Hope you didn't take this too seriously. Remember, it's called Roast the Week for a reason, so if you can't handle it when I do exactly that, then you know where you can go. And if you can handle it, feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe with notifications on if you like. You know, you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GameFaceHD. Links are all in the description, but you know, you check there anyway if you really cared. which you probably don't. Anyway, guys, I'll see you on my live stream at 7 PM on Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.